Hello, welcome back to another photography video. We are on our way to the seafront to put my brand new camera through its paces. That's right, I finally bought my dream camera. I bought a Leica Q3. Ever since I got into photography, I always knew I wanted a Leica for that Leica look, although that's probably a myth more than it is anything else. I really wanted a Leica, and it was my goal of mine to get myself a Leica. So I've got one. I got a Q3. Ever since that was announced, I was like, yeah, gonna have that one. The flip screen and the USB-C charging is what drew me to the Q3 over the Q2. There's not really that much of a difference otherwise. Sure, you got 60 megapixels, but it's the same lens, same everything else, same look, same feel. But the flip screen, I use it so frequently, I don't know if I could live without it anymore. So we're off to the seafront. Thought we'd take it for a little local walk. It's meant to be local, but the traffic's horrendous because we're coming straight from work, rush hour, everyone's trying to get home. So hopefully by the time we get there, we'll still have a little bit of sunlight left. We could put the camera through its paces, and then the neons of the arcades and all that in the seafront. After that, we can see where it goes, see how it takes us. We'll do some sample shots, and I'll give you my overall thoughts on the Q3. So join me as we go and take this camera out and put it through its paces. It's a Leica. It's a Leica. I got a Leica. I like that, the way the light's reflecting off the rock pool and the clouds in the background and them two holding hands walking along the rocks. It's quite nice. I've missed golden hour completely, it's way gone. But yeah, this camera's handling it really well. I've got auto ISO set up with a max cap of 6400. I'm dialing in my aperture manually. Shutter speed, 250th of a second, going up to 500 at times. It depends on how much light there is. That reflection though, really, yeah, I like that. The way the water's hitting, cascading the orange tones and stuff like that. A good thing to mention as well is all the pictures you're seeing today are unedited, straight out of camera shots to show you the JPEG performance. I'm using Leica Vivid as a color profile. Yeah, I only took a few shots, but I'm in love so far. Let's continue on, see what we can see. Obviously, as the sun gets darker and the nightlife comes alive, we will see more neon and stuff like that. We'll see how this camera handles the neon. I'm finding it more hard to hold than the Fuji. The Fuji's got a tiny little bit of a grip at the front. I need the front grip, but I probably won't buy the Leica one. It's an extra 300 quid. I'll probably buy a JJC because this is JJC, this little thumb grip. That was 40 quid, you know, that's so much easier to hold. The camera's very flat and I'm very aware that I'm carrying it. And it could be the weight difference. There's not much in it in terms of this camera and the Fuji, but I don't know, I just feel more aware of it. Maybe it's because of the price of the camera, who knows. Yeah, let's continue on, get some more shots, see what we can see, and I'll report back soon. I don't know if I'm getting anything, but like I say, it's the first day out with it. I'm more testing the settings that I've put into it than anything else. This camera can reproduce colors really nicely. There's a hint of magenta to them, not gonna lie to you, but auto white balance is really good, really impressed with it. Yeah, I mean, I haven't been getting much. The seafront's dead. Other than the typical youths revving their shitty 1 litre cars, it's really not busy like I thought it would be for the day after a bank holiday. That's by the by though. I like the isolation feel. I like how wide I can get with this 28mm. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going. Hope for the best. I've mainly stayed in autofocus, but I have been focusing between 2 meters and infinity as well at times. Yeah, we're getting there. I'm dialing it in. I feel comfortable with it. I'm getting comfortable with it quickly as well, which is quite nice. And yeah, I'm really impressed so far. So, I was thrown off by the people, or the lack of people. Usually this place is absolutely rammed, even in an evening time, once it's sunny, you know, people are out and about. But that wasn't the case today, but nevertheless, I've still got some good pictures. I am really liking using the camera. What I'm going to do now is go home, have a look at all the pictures straight out of camera, see how they turned out, because in my mind I think they're good, but I haven't chimped. So I want to go home, have a proper look, and then we'll talk about some of the pictures I've taken today, and then I'll give my overall first impressions review of the camera as a whole, and we can go from there. And then you'll see this camera in more and more videos as I get to use it, get to learn it. It'll be really good. So I'll see you at home and we'll give you my review and first impressions of the camera. So I'm back home now. It's been a couple of days. I've tidied up the beard a little bit, and I've had a flick through the photos that I took on that evening walking around the seafront, and let me tell you, this is something special. I was right about this camera. I'm going to be talking about, from the very little time that I've had walking around with it so far, the things that I love straight out of the gate, and things that I feel like I need to adapt to and learn from. So the first thing I want to talk about is the unboxing experience. When you're actually unboxing this camera, it feels like you're unboxing something special. Everything just packaged up perfectly. When you open it from its outer box, everything looks like it's its own little chest of drawers set. You take off some magnets, it reveals the compartment where the actual camera is, and then you flip down some more magnets and there's two little pull-out drawers, one with the manual and the quick start guide, and then the second with all the accessories individually bagged in Leica branded bags. They look incredible. That's what my battery is currently sitting in my bag, in its nice little velvet pouch. It's really, really nice. And yeah, it's a pleasure to unbox. Everything is just engineered perfectly with the camera when you're setting it up. It's nice and simple. You connect to the Leica Photos app and it does pretty much all the setup for you. And then I menu dived for the camera for a couple hours, found settings that I was pretty happy with, and then took it out. And then from taking it out, the first thing I realized is the color accuracy is really, really nice. This camera produces incredible results when it comes to color photography. And as you can see from some of the pictures that I've taken, like this one, the first image in that night that I took of those people walking around that rock pool with the sunset in the background, the oranges, they pop. The actual green of the mossy rock face that they were walking on top of also pops. There is no missed elements there. And that was shot at a quite high ISO, and even zooming in, you can't see a grainy, blurry image. This is full frame. You've got pure full frame capabilities with this camera, and it shows. You can crop in to your heart's content. Speaking of cropping in, another thing that I absolutely love is the ability to crop with a single press of an FN button. This function button allows me to crop to the standard 28mm no crop, but then if I press the button I can go to 35, 50, 75 or even 90 if I feel like it. And as a JPEG, it will crop to that dimension, but then if you pull the raw files into Lightroom or your editing place of choice, it will keep that crop, but if you end up not liking it, you can just uncrop if you wanted to. Just zoom out and you don't lose anything because it's still capturing it as a 28mm image. But because it's full frame and 60 megapixels, the ability to crop in is just spectacular. One thing that I will say that I need to learn from though, and that is the electronic and manual shutter. I had purely electronic shutter set on my little evening walking around, and I noticed with a couple of my photos when the shutter speed wasn't quite right for the lighting in the image, I was getting these blocky lines, and because I wasn't chimping, I didn't know this until after I got home. Quick remedy to that, when I found that out while menu diving again, is if I keep this set to hybrid, it fixes all of those issues. The hybrid sound for this leaf shutter is really quiet anyway and actually quite nice. If I turn it on, you'll be able to hear it. It's a really nice sounding shutter, and yeah, I'm gonna keep it on hybrid from now. I don't think I'm gonna go to a shutter speed high enough to need anything more than 0.02 of a second, so I won't need to worry about the electronic too much. But if I do need a shutter speed higher than that, then the electronic shutter will kick in anyway. Just something that I needed to learn from. A couple of the images that I thought would turn out quite nice because of the lighting hitting a subject ended up being completely ruined because I didn't realise the barred effects that I was getting on those images. And some things that I don't think I can live without, obviously with any of my cameras I have these Peak Design straps attached, so I've got these Peak Design hooks attached. I did originally go straight through the eye holes and not have these ringlets on, but that didn't work out. It was just too stiff, so I attached the ringlets from the Leica strap you get with the camera and just put these on it so I can use my wrist strap or my neck strap quite easily. And this camera is very slick. As you can see from the front, there is no front grip there, and if I take off the back little JJC thing that I mentioned about when I was walking around the seafront, this little thumb grip, it is a very, very flat camera. Being able to hold it is quite annoying like this. My thumbs and my hands don't fit with this camera very well, and holding it, the weight of the camera, it's like 780 grams or something. I weighed it, and it's quite, you can feel it pulling, and it's all compact and very bulky. Not overly bulky where you find it heavy, but just bulky where you can feel it. You've got that, you know you're holding it sort of thing. But after adding this little thumb grip, it's so much more comfortable, and I don't think I could live without it. So that is something that definitely will stay on the camera, because the thumb just rests so much easier on that nice little grip there. And then I might attach the JJC front grip to give me a bit of a lip at the front of the camera as well, just to make it more ergonomic. Other than that, the battery life, pretty incredible. I walked around, took 200 photos. These batteries lasted me, it didn't get below 70%, and I had the camera on all the time. Auto turn off, I had auto turn off, or whatever it's called, auto standby, set after a minute of inactivity, and then as soon as you half press the shutter button, it comes back to life within literally half a second, if that. I had a few people tell me that the startup time before buying this camera was quite long, but this is from absolutely off. That's all it takes to start up the camera. Not long at all, and if you've got the auto standby mode or whatever you've got set, it's even quicker than that. So I don't find that that's going to be a problem for me in my style of shooting. I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. The EVF, I would have liked a viewfinder for the price point. I mean, the M series of viewfinder cameras, rangefinder cameras even, but the EVF is very bright, and if you use the 35mm crop, it brings your file size from 60 megapixels down to like 40 or something. and it's still incredibly clear. Obviously 40 megapixels is plenty for most people, and you can use that 35mm box that you get with the crop lines to use it as a rangefinder if you wanted to. So there's plenty of options that way. The only thing that I haven't tried out yet is the macro mode, and I don't think I'm gonna. It's just on the lens, you can switch it over to macro and you can see the lens changes. I don't think I'm gonna use macro mode pretty much ever, but it's a nice to have on the lens. Everything's all in one. It's not a massive form factor, it's certainly not a pocketable point and shoot, and for a point and shoot it is quite big, but for an all-in-one camera and replacing my Fuji X-T30, it's definitely smaller, definitely more compact, definitely more discreet as well, apart from the Leica badge, which I had a few people, when I was taking photos looking out onto the seafront, compliment the look of the camera, even though they said I was being a bit weird taking photos of random people on the beach. But by the by, they said it was a nice camera and I'll take it as a win. Other than that, there's not really much else to say. This camera is extremely good. The autofocus and the manual focus is both a dream to use. You can autofocus just by having it set to the AF section, or you can twist this little dial. And I usually had my autofocus set between 2 meters and infinity for the shooting I was doing. The only thing is remembering to put it back into autofocus afterwards, but that's just a me thing. I can't really say much else for the amount of time that I've actually used this camera. My first impressions are absolutely as I expected. The camera's incredible, and I've seen the Q2 and I've used the Q2. If you have a Q2, I don't think it's worth the upgrade for the Q3, but because I didn't have that, this little flip screen and the ability to USB-C charge is what drew me to this camera over the Q2. I don't think 60 megapixels is a need for me, but it's nice to have for sure. And it's an amazing camera to play around with. It's a dream to play around with. It is my dream camera. And you're gonna see much more of it. Next week's video, you're gonna be seeing me walk around London, enjoying the sunny little heat wave that we're having going on in May. Hopefully we can get some lovely shots out in the sun. I've adjusted my settings some more since I was out, and I'm sure I've got them dialed in now. It's nice and easy. All my function buttons are set how I want them, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready to really take some nice images. So I hope you can join me next week. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Watch all my videos. Go on, give them a watch. I'm a delight. You'd love them, I'm sure. Thank you so much for watching this one though. I'm sorry that the first impressions were just a couple hours walking around the seafront. I did not expect the traffic to be how it was, but don't worry, you'll see much more of this camera every week. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.